वेलकम टू दिस एपिसोड ऑफ द हरप्रीत सिंह शो। थोड़ा मेरा साथ होंगे जी मंडे टू फ्राइडे सवेरे 7 तो लैके 8 बजे तक, मंडे टू थर्सडे रात ਨੂੰ 10 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 11 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅਤੇ ਸੈਟਰਡੇ ਨੂੰ 2 ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਦੁਪਹਿਰ 2 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 3 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਤ 8 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 9 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਐਲ ਹੇਦ ਨਾਲ। ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਦੇ ਮਾਲਕ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਪਲਾਨਸ ਨਾਲ ਡੀਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਕਿ RESPs ਦੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਪਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਕੀ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟਸ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ-ਕਿਹੜੇ ਐਡਵਾਂਟੇजेस ਲੋਕ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
It's a pleasure. So, Al, a little bit about yourself. Since how long you are associated with this industry?
Well, I started the organization back in 1990, and we got approved by the Securities Commission and CRA in May of 1991. So
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, more than 20 years.
RESPs, it was a new concept at that time, not much prevalent. What prompted you to think on those terms of starting an organization which would look into the future of the children and make the parents aware that there is need to save for the children's education?
Well, I thought it was a good social task. At that particular time, I was previously in the book publishing business and decided that I didn't want to retire yet. So I decided to start up an RESP company which focused in on saving for post-secondary education, because having had 3 children, I knew the cost of what it would be to go to school, and that this would be a formidable expense in the future because the cost of education was increasing every single year.
So, Al, over the years, when this RESP started, what are the basic things which people need to know about this particular thing, and when they have to make an investment, what should they keep in mind when they have to select one company?
Well, what they need to look at, they need to look at the track record. They need to take a look at what kind of investments that they're involved in, what kind of rates of return that the company has garnered from the marketplace, because at the end of the day, the plan is only as good is what the people get in education assistance payments. They need to take a look at the features and the benefits of the plan. Like with our plan, we have 2-year payout for anybody taking a community college, trade school, religious school, Bible college, anywhere in the world. They need to look at just the general makeup of the company and the kind of service they provide. They need to go to the internet, and they need to do a Google search and say, hey, are there complaints with this company? Are there any issues? In our particular situation, we've been given the Parent Tested, Parent Approved Award 2 years in a row. And so we pride ourselves in being education funding specialists. We do one thing very, very well, and we take great pride in that.
You talked about EAPs, Education Assistant Funding, which you talked about payments.
Yes.
So what is this?
Well, what this is the investment income that is earned on the principal after-tax dollars that the parents have set aside. So what typically happens is people use the savings that the parents have made for first year of post-secondary, and then for second, third, and fourth year, they get the education assistance payments, which is made up of the investment income that has been earned, plus they get the government grants, because as you know, the government kicks in money as well through the Canada Education Savings Grant, because they want people to save for education, because the default rate on student loans is so bad. And so they want parents to save for their kids' education. And of course, those grants are invested as well, and they have growth investment income. So that's what's paid out at the end of the day to the subscribers to fund their post-secondary education. Now, there's a limit on how much parents can set aside lifetime, and it's $50,000.
Right.
But that $50,000, if it's properly invested, and if people max out and do $50,000, we've been paying out close to $200,000 at the end of the day. And if you have a child that's going to pursue medical school or go to a professional designation such as architecture or law, they're going to need that money, Harpreet. They're going to need that kind of money. Or if they go to school in the States, or, you know, we know the cost of going to schools in the States. Yeah,
and it's increasing day by day.
Yeah, and it's increasing day by day. I mean, I had a son that went to school in the States, $26,000 a year, just tuition.
Right.
Never mind room and board, tuition.
Right. Okay, now while you're getting the grants also from the government and your money is also growing, but is there any flaw of putting in the money in the RESP? Because many times when you talk to some investment advisors, they guide you that why you want to invest in RESP, it would be better if you set aside some fund for your children and that will grow more than the RESPs.
I've never seen a situation or a case being presented to me where that is true.
Right.
The problem with financial planners is that they talk from both sides of their mouth, and they're really not truly interested in what's in best interest for the subscriber. The government gives free money.
Right.
Why do people want to leave free money? That's the reason that RESPs got created. And no, I have never seen a scenario. The problem with the whole financial services sector in Canada is there's an organization called Morningstar.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of Morningstar, but
yeah.
Morningstar rates all of the Western capitalist countries all around the world. And they found that in Canada, the fees that are charged by the financial advisors are the highest of any Western country in the world. And Canada actually got an F grade for the amount of fees, which shows you what the motivation of the mutual fund companies and for the advisors are.
But ultimately, you are also investing that money through these advisors into the funds. We'll talk about this after this break.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Do you want to talk about it now?
We'll just go for a short break, come back and we'll discuss about it.
Certainly.
Thank you. Putting in the money in the RESP, because many times when you talk to some investment advisors, they guide you that why you want to invest in RESP, it would be better if you set aside some fund for your children and that will grow more than the RESPs.
I've never seen a situation or a case being presented to me where that is true.
Right.
The problem with financial planners is that they talk from both sides of their mouth, and they're really not truly interested in what's in best interest for the subscriber. The government gives free money.
Right.
Why do people want to leave free money? That's the reason that RESPs got created. And no, I have never seen a scenario. The problem with the whole financial services sector in Canada is there's an organization called Morningstar.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of Morningstar, but
yeah.
Morningstar rates all of the Western capitalist countries all around the world. And they found that in Canada, the fees that are charged by the financial advisors are the highest of any Western country in the world. And Canada actually got an F grade for the amount of fees, which shows you what the motivation of the mutual fund companies and for the advisors are.
But ultimately, you are also investing that money through these advisors into the funds. We'll talk about this after this break.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So, स्वागत करदा जी एक बार फिर आप सब दा एल हेड ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਮਾਲਕ ਹਨ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ RESP ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਐਸਪੈਕਟ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮਾਪਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੋਸਟ ਸੈਕੰਡਰੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸੇਵ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਿਨ ਬ ਦਿਨ ਮਹਿੰਗੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ RESP ਦੇ ਕੀ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਗ੍ਰਾਂਟਸ ਵੀ ਮਿਲਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਯਕੀਨਨ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਨੇ ਗਰੋ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਅਮਾਉਂਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਸਿਸਟਡ ਪੇਮੈਂਟਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਇਸੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਓ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। So before the break, like we were talking about, that the money is to be invested into bonds and stocks and all that.
Yes.
So how do you make sure that the money which you are taking from the public, your company makes it sure that it is going in the right direction? Because the way we have seen the stocks going up and down, it's a volatile situation, and as the markets go up and down, people's heart also start pumping. So how do you make sure that the money where you are investing is going to be protected and it will grow?
Harpreet, that's a very good question. And I just want to state categorically, throughout the plan's history, we've never had any negative rates of return. So when that crash came in 2008 that we all remember, what happened to stocks and mutual funds and whatnot, we had positive rates of return. We work very closely with our investment advisors, and we have 5 investment advisors that work with us, who have an expertise in a different area. But we look at investments that have the least amount of risk.
Right.
Now, obviously, when you do that, you don't get the big returns as well. However, we think that safety is of paramount importance to be in relatively low-risk investments so that we don't get hurt. Because the window of investments is only 17 years.
Right.
This is not like a retirement where you've got 40 years to hope that the market goes up. So when your child is ready to go, and if you're invested in mutual funds or in equities, and the timing is off, there goes the EAP values. And there was many parents who found themselves in that position in 2008 and 2009 and even 2010 because the market still hasn't fully recovered. So you're absolutely right. So we work very closely. We meet with our investment advisors every 3 months, and that's a critical role that I perform. And that is why we have paid out, of all of the group scholarship plan dealers, we have paid out the highest 17 years in a row.
Wow. There are various kinds of plans, and people can suit according to their needs whatever is required. So if you can deliberate upon that as to, I've heard about group plans, there are individual plans.
Right.
So what are these things?
Well, we are a scholarship plan provider, and our primary product is a group plan. But we also have a self-directed plan, which is a plan similar to what the banks and other financial organizations offer. And then we also have an individual pool plan. So we really have all of the flexibility that is required to suit the purpose of education. But at the end of the day, we need to do a real needs analysis, KYC, know your client, affordability, to make sure whatever the parents get involved with, that they can afford it, because it is a 17-year window of investment.
And also, we also hear that many a times all the children are not going to do post-secondary education, despite the fact the parents might be wanting it. So in case if a child doesn't go to a post-secondary education, what happens to the money which has been given?
Okay, under a group plan, all RESPs are governed under CRA legislation, Canada Revenue Agency. And all RESPs are governed under this rule. If somebody cancels a plan, and the plan has been in existence for less than 10 years, and the child has not reached the age of 21, then what happens is the investment income has to be lost. So it has to be donated to a post-secondary institution if it's a self-directed plan. However, if it's a group plan, it goes into the pool for the benefit of those subscribers who continue with the plan. So there is what we call a tontine feature that is of benefit and advantage with the group plans for those parents who are disciplined to make sure that their plan goes through. But You say, what happens if they don't go? Well, you can transfer to another child.
Okay.
If the plan has been in existence for more than 10 years and the child has reached age 21, you can also transfer to an RRSP of the primary subscriber or the spouse, or you can take it out as investment income and pay an additional tax.
Right.
But most students do pursue some form of post-secondary, because what are we talking about?
Right.
The rule of a post-secondary is minimum 3 weeks, not less than 10 hours per week.
Right.
That's a pretty liberal situation.
Absolutely. Right.
So if somebody has a child that doesn't pursue, they better build on a big bedroom, because they'll be looking after that child for the rest of their life. So education has to be pursued beyond high school.
No doubt.
If in this day and age.
And especially if you have to progress, then education is the only answer.
Absolutely.
Towards then, while you have talked about the various things which should be kept in mind while anybody goes for RESP, with your experience, what would be your message to the parents and to the children?
Start early. Make sure you do your due diligence. The representative, make sure that he or she is the kind of person that you want to deal with. We have our representatives meet with our potential subscribers in the home, and it's eyeball to eyeball, because service is everything.
Right.
Okay? That's my recommendation to parents.
Thank you, Al.
Get that money, and I want to say one final thing.
Yeah.
In BC, you've got this wonderful situation where the BC government is now going to be offering a provincial grant in addition to the federal grant, and it's going to be substantial for anyone who opens up an RESP.
That's wonderful information. Thank you very much for your time. Pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਐਲ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਅਖੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ BC ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਗ੍ਰਾਂਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ, BC ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗ੍ਰਾਂਟ ਦੇਏਗੀ ਜਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪੈਸਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਚੰਗੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੱਧ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ RESP ਲੈਣ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਫਰਦਰ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਪਰਸਿਊ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਈ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਕਿ RRSP 'ਚ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਫਰ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਢਾ ਵੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਅਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਚਾਂਸਸ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਇਸ ਪੈਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਫਰਦਰ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਅਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ।